Welcome to the CATRS Technology Studios. My name is Shay Velasquez.
And I am Paul Galloway. Here's another episode of Coffee with Caters. Shay, what are we going to be talking about today?
Yes, so today we're going to be talking about security or cybersecurity awareness month, which is October.
Is that this month?
It is this month.
Okay. So we're in cybersecurity month, which means that I guess we're going to discuss just some simple tips for people to be able to stay safe online, at home, at work, wherever you're using technology.
Right.
What you got?
So fun fact, actually, before we jump into the tricks, not the tricks, but the tips, treats, because it is spooky season, right? October this year will make the 21st year of Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So we have some cool tips, treats, I like to say. And my first will be probably the most simple. I would say definitely make sure that you are using strong, unique passwords.
Okay, what do you mean by a strong, unique password? Because if I just write the word strong as my password, technically that's a strong password.
Okay, but don't do that because it's
don't do that.
That can be easily guessed, and as well as you have those bad hackers out there, and you want to make something that is difficult for someone to guess.
So, what's like the worst password you've ever come across with somebody?
Password.
Yeah. Probably the worst password I've ever came up with or had somebody come is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's pretty common.
Okay.
So something that they want to probably remember easily, but I mean, you want to make sure that it's strong enough. You have at least 6 characters. You want to make sure that you have numbers and
Is it really necessary that I have numbers and special characters and capitalization?
Right.
Is that really necessary?
I mean, I would suggest that I recommend it just because it's, again, when it comes to a password, you want to make sure that it's something that is not easily guessed.
Mm-hmm. And I'll add to that a tip I would utilize, and Shay's correct, if you use strong passwords, all of the crazy little numbers and special characters. But have you ever thought about using maybe a strong passphrase? And I'll give you an example. If I use a passphrase like, I used to really enjoy watching Florida State.
Right.
And then I capitalize each of the first letters in that. That's a really difficult password. Right. Some data scientists have said that it's really more difficult for a hacker or a computer to guess that as opposed to guessing something you even have special characters in it and everything. Right. So what just happened? Did we lose a light? I think we just lost a light. I think we just lost a light. Can't really even tell.
Season.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, great. So what about password managers?
Right. I recommend password managers. I mean, you probably see them more often now than not, especially if you utilize let's say Google Chrome. They have a good password manager.
Any of the browsers have them now. I'd have one caveat with using password managers. You still should not recycle passwords. So if you're using, let's say you're using a strong password for your bank account, let's not use it across all of your financial accounts, and let's not use it for your email. And I realize that that's making things a little bit more cumbersome because now you have to remember multiple passwords. That's where a password manager maybe can kind of come in handy. So,
that's a good tip.
All right. Tip number 2, have very good and updated antivirus software installed on not just your computer, but on all of your technology devices, which would include your tablet as well as your smartphone. So, antivirus. Why antivirus? What would you recommend? Do you have a go-to antivirus that you recommend for people?
So me personally, I like Malwarebytes.
Yep, that's a good one.
That to me personally, I personally like that one. It keeps up to date. And you want to make sure, one, you want to make sure that the software itself is up to date. But
and depending on the version that you have, that could be easy, or it could be something that you kind of have to make yourself a note for. So we normally would recommend, if you use Malwarebytes as your anti-malware solution, you can use a free version, which works really well. The biggest difference between the free version and the paid version is with the free version, you have to manually update it and you have to manually run scans.
That is true.
So if you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so pretty much it comes with preferences. If you don't mind having to manually do so, I mean, or you can always call us and we can do so.
Yeah, I always say if you like the set it and forget it method, then it's kind of worth the subscription to kind of pay for it. The second one would be if you're using a Windows PC. Windows now come integrated with Windows Defenders and Windows Security. So the antivirus, the anti-malware, the firewall, the ransomware protection on Windows 10 and Windows 11 is actually pretty good. Don't think you really need to have a whole lot of stuff on it to kind of help with that.
Right.
So that would be my tip. Strong, secure, updated antivirus. And I have one other tip as far as antivirus is concerned. If you're using an antivirus, a couple of things you want to kind of look out for when you're trying to choose or pick one. Obviously, you can look at reviews or you can just contact us. And we have several that we could recommend. And we can even get that installed on your PC or your device. If the antivirus causes your PC to run significantly slower.
I know where he's going with this.
If it is difficult for you to uninstall, then really those characteristics are characteristics of viruses and malware. And I'm not going to name the products, but there's some products out there that have name recognition, but they really do slow your PC down. So one of the first things that we would do when we were doing PC maintenance is what do
we're uninstalling.
Okay, uninstall, and then what do we normally install on our PCs for customers?
The Malwarebytes in regards to.
Okay, Malwarebytes, and then we have another utility. Not really a antivirus, but it's more of a utility to kind of clean up your browsing. That's CCleaner.
CCleaner.
Okay. All right. So that was mine. What do you got next? Third point.
So third point, I will say physical security. Whether it's your personal devices or if you work in an office business, make sure that you're locking your devices when you step away. Whether again it's your desktop, your actual phones, tablets, because the physical security is important. Anyone can just go in and they have all your access to all the information that you store.
Yeah, if you don't do that, then somebody can hack your phone.
And you can start sounding like this. And it's going to be really funny. So
I just make sure that physical security is really important.
Agree.
We did we had an event a while back, and we did kind of a use case. Went out to the parking lot and other people that they were for an event, and you would be surprised how many people had their cars unlocked with tablets, some phones.
That's scary.
Just out in broad daylight. And so we can do all that we want with antivirus and encryption. If you don't protect your device, then that's kind of half the battle with it. Speaking of the physical security, let's say that for whatever reason, I forget my phone. I leave it somewhere, and I do have it locked. From a software standpoint, I have a code on it or use FaceTime or something of that nature, or some type of biometric. And I know I'm never going to get it back. Somebody stole it. What can I do to kind of protect my data?
Well, one, I think going into changing your passwords will be one. If it's in regards to like accounts, or like say for example like your bank account, just notifying them so they can actually put a hold on that as well, all your accounts, and just kind of keeping track of all your activity for unusual or suspicious like activity is another good.
And kind of a cool thing with all devices now, even including Windows PCs, if you log in with a Microsoft account, it works with iPhone, it works with Android. You have your location, but you also have a secure wipe. So whether you have an Android phone or an iPhone, if it's gone, you're never going to get it back, then at a bare minimum, you can basically render that device useless by doing a secure erase, and it locks it. So it's just going to be a nice paperweight for somebody. They're not going to be able to access it or use it ever. So just remember that. If you need help with getting that set up on your mobile device or on your tablet or computer, give us a call. Okay, last tip. And a lot of people wouldn't consider this necessarily a cybersecurity tip, but right now, if you had to guess, there's no right or wrong answer. What do you feel would be the biggest risk or the things that people worry about? When you say this word, people kind of freak out. They say, "Oh, I'm so worried about having a blank attack."
So like cyber attack?
What type of cyber attack though?
So
people out there begins with an R.
Like ransom?
Yeah, like a ransomware attack. So that is probably like the scariest thing out there, because with a ransomware attack, essentially what the malicious actor does is they lock your PC, they encrypt it. Encryption is good when you know how to get into the encryption. If you don't, that's a problem. So ransomware is probably one of the biggest ones out there. And so unfortunately, there's some mechanisms and things you can do to kind of help with ransomware, but what would be the best way to protect yourself with ransomware?
I mean, I'm going to start with making sure that you're not clicking onto like any unusual or suspicious links that you do not, it's unfamiliar to you, you do not know. So this includes like any like weird emails that it may probably look like it's legit, but you don't know the familiar source. So do not click those emails.
Yep, definitely don't want to click on links, so be aware of that, attachments, etc. But let's say I do all that. This happens even with technical people where we get hit with ransomware. We did everything we could. What is there to protect us if we would have only thought of it beforehand? What could we do with the people at home to tell them this is what you need to do in order to protect yourself from ransomware? And for people at home, begins with a B. You wanted to guess?
I'm thinking technical thing. I'm not
backup.
Backup, yeah. But why for some reason I'm thinking Bellark.
No, I don't think
that's for us, but backup.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna.
They're like
care
Bellark,
about that.
Right?
That's just a little inventory application that we use. But your best bet, really, your only line of defense against ransomware is a solid backup that is not connected to the internet. Right. And so that is what my last tip will be, is make sure you have a solid backup. And if you do back up, whether you back up to an external drive, whether you back up to an SSD drive, or if you back up using maybe even Blu-ray or DVD or the cloud. Right. Here's the most important thing. I was always told that the only good backup is the last backup that you verified to see if you could restore data from. Yeah. So just because it says backup successful doesn't mean that it's successful. And so we have a plethora of solutions that we can actually set up. It doesn't matter if you're a one-person office, if it's your personal PC. There's some cloud variants, but cloud variants, they get infected and they go offline and lose data too. So we're just kind of a big believer in that you kind of want your own personal solid backup copy in the event that unfortunately you get hit with ransomware. So anything else?
So if any tips that stuck with you guys, or if you have any further questions or concerns, or you're like, hey, what do I need to do to back up my information, or anything of that sort, you can definitely give us a call. We're here to assist. CATRS Technology is not only for our members, but for the public as well. So friends, family, relatives.
Yeah, let us know. So that a quick recap is we had antivirus. So make sure your antivirus is updated. We also had use strong passwords. We mentioned physical security of your devices. Don't forget about the lock and erase in case that your device unfortunately does go away. And then last but not least, make sure you have a good qualified solid backup. And hopefully these tips will help you out in Cybersecurity Month. Yep. All right. Well, we appreciate you taking some time with us Monday morning. Until we see you on the next episode of Coffee with CATRS.
Cheers.
Have a great Monday. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.